Thank you very much to the UN Women team to allow us the India SE program to share our experience of how we kind of, pivoted to a COVID context and a post-COVID context also. Without much ado, I will start and welcome everyone to, I think, what is the fourth day of the SE Global Conference. And let me start with introducing myself. My name is Madhu. I work with Pradhan, which is the lead organization for SE program in India and is working with around 10 other organizations across the SE geographies. Um, Let me start with a quick overview of the SE India program. In India, the project aim to demonstrate various sectoral pathways towards medium and short-term strategies for women's economic empowerment. So this was a very, our experience was that, this was the first time that we had these various different pathways under one overarching umbrella program uh, was a very unique, I think, design of the program, which allowed us to actually reach out to various different uh, women in various ages of, their life cycle. So we chosen 4 states across India with differing socio-economic cultural contexts. And the pathways for bringing women into the economic stream that were chosen were education, skill, and enterprise. A partnership framework was adopted to pursue this ambitious initiative. So, implementation partners with extensive experience in social mobilization, especially of women from disadvantaged communities, they were brought on board. And they were also supported because there was such an ambitious programmatic agenda of various kinds. So they were also supported. We drew support from various technical expert agencies with deep understanding and work in these sectors. Just a little bit of the program and how, the program in India started in August 2019. I understand that, the program kind of started at multiple time intervals. So in India, it started in August 2019. So we had a clear run of around 6 months before COVID struck us. So as you may be knowing, India declared a complete nationwide lockdown on March 24th, 2020. Um, and this made the entire economy come to a screeching halt and also led to a reverse migration phenomena in which, people from the rural areas who work in the urban spaces saw a mass exodus back, fearing, unemployment. And as we saw, and as data says, several million jobs were lost during this period. Various small enterprises like, street vendors, grocery shops, food stalls closed shop. Cash earnings dried up because in the rural also people depend upon earnings from migration. There was complete lockdown on any kind of movement across borders or even locally. So, in such a scenario, we suddenly had to wake up to a very new reality of functioning. And in India, I mean, we hear about the, the explosion of the mobile phone population. But if we actually look at the disaggregated data, the number of women owning smartphones is actually very little. So all that was kind of, we had to factor in to actually pivot the program. To understand how the SE program overcame the barriers, we have a diverse and wonderful panel. Let me introduce our panel for the day. We have Rosie Begum, who's a young woman from Bihar who has an inspirational story. We'll hear her first. Then we have Anupama, who's a young management graduate who leads the district team in Orissa, one of the states. We have Mr. Ved Prakash Sharma, who's the Chief Operating Officer of the Skill Partner in the SE program. And also, Be-Able is also one of the most prominent actors in the employment space in India. So we have Mr. Sharma with us. And finally, we have Mr. Kanhaiya Lal Gupta, who's the director of the regional office of the National Institute of Open Schooling in Bihar. So let me begin with Rosie Begum. Just to give you a background about Rosie. Rosie comes from the minority Muslim community from the remote Simanchal area of Bihar, which is at the tri-junction of India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. This is one of the remotest parts of Bihar and of the country. Additionally, Rosie comes from a strong Orthodox community with strong restrictions on women and girls' mobility. She's traveled a long way, literally, from Kishanganj to Karnal, as I like to call it. रोजी, आपसे शुरू करते हैं आज की बातचीत हम लोग. आप सुन पा रहे हैं हमें?
जी मैम.
हाँ, तो रोजी, आपने अपने समुदाय में अन्य लड़कियों के लिए एक नया उदाहरण स्थापित किया है ना? आपकी जो ये प्रेरणादायक यात्रा है, उसमें खासकर कोविड का से भी कई बाधाएं आई. आपने वो सब बाधाएं कार्यक्रम के साथ मिलकर सफलता से उनको पार किया. तो कृपया थोड़ा सबके साथ आपकी कहानी बांटने का, साझा करने का ये करें, ताकि जो लोग सुन रहे हैं अलग अलग देशों से, वो भी आपकी कहानी से सीख ले पाए. रोजी
जी मैम.
धन्यवाद.
सबसे पहले तो भैया और दीदी को मेरे तरफ से सलाम. मेरे नाम है रोजी बेगम, डिस्ट्रिक्ट किशनगंज से हूँ और घर करोड़ बनगमा है. और मैं 10 मैट्रिक पढ़ाई की हूँ, उसमें मैट्रिक में फेल हूँ. फिर भी 2018 में पढ़ाई छोड़ दी. 2018 में पढ़ाई छोड़ दी. उसके बाद फिर मैं घर पे ही रहती थी, मम्मी के साथ ही, घर ही चल रहे थे. उनके बाद फिर घर पे आए और रेणुका दीदी आए और प्रधान के तरफ से एक पढ़ाई का दूसरा मौका के बारे में बताए कि पढ़ाई की दूसरा मौका है, जिसमें 3 मंथ का जॉब कोर्स करना पड़ेंगे और 3 मंथ का जॉब है, जिसमें कोर्स करने पड़ेंगे जीडीए का. जो जीडीए का कोर्स होते हो नर्सिंग स्टाफ से नीचे है, जिसमें पेशेंट को देखभाल किया जाता है, उसको पेशेंट को केयर किया जाता है. इसके बारे में बताए गए थे. तो हमने सुने तो उसको बहुत अच्छे लगे कि इस चीज में अच्छा ही है. जब 3 मंथ का कोर्स है और उस कोर्स में 3 मंथ का कोर्स करने से हमें जॉब मिलेंगे, और जॉब में बताए गए थे कि 10,000 रुपया तनख्वाह मिलेगी. जी, तो 10,000 रुपया तनख्वाह के मिलेंगे. तो फिर भी हम लोग मम्मी को बताए, मम्मी बताए तो मम्मी को बोले कि मम्मी हमें भी करना है ये जॉब. तो मम्मी ने तैयार हो गए थे, मगर भैया और पापा ने तैयार नहीं हुए थे. बोल रहे थे कि एक लड़की होकर इतने दूर जाना, हिमाचल अच्छे बात नहीं होते, और एक कोर्स हिमाचल में ही किया जाता है और उसमें पढ़ाई हिमाचल ही कॉलेज में पढ़ाई किया जाता है. तो उसमें बताए गए थे. तो फिर मम्मी बोले कि हम मम्मी को बोले मम्मी हमें जाना है. भैया ने बोले कि नहीं जाना है, अच्छा बात नहीं. गांव समाज के आदमी बोल रहे हैं कि बेटी लड़की को इतना दूर भेजना अच्छी बात नहीं होते. तो हमने बोला कि हमें किसी की बात नहीं सुनना, हमें जाना है. तो भैया ने बोले कि नहीं जाना है. तो फिर हमने अमित भैया को दोबारा कॉल किए और भैया को बताया भैया ऐसा बात है, भैया ने हमें जाने के लिए मना कर रहे हैं। तो फिर भैया बोले कि कोई बात, मतलब प्रधान में एक फिर मीटिंग हुए थे, जो बहादुरगंज प्रधान है वहाँ पे एक मीटिंग हुए थे, जहाँ पे बताए गए थे और मतलब मीटिंग में समझाए कि उस मीटिंग में अररिया की दीदी जो है उसने इस कोर्स की और कोर्स करके जॉब भी करती है। उस वीडियो में हमें दिखाए गए वीडियो में। तो उस वीडियो में हम देखे और भैया को हमने बोले भैया हमें तो जाना है, मगर भैया ने हमें, मेरी भैया जो है ना वो हमें मतलब जाने के लिए अनुमति नहीं दे रहे हैं। तो भैया ने बोले कि ठीक है, हमने घर पे जाके समझाएंगे। फिर भैया घर पे आए और समझाए कि मतलब जाने के लिए दीजिए। तो भैया ने बोले कि ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है, बाहर में इतना दूर हिमाचल में पढ़ाई करना अच्छा बात नहीं। और उनके बाद फिर हिमाचल मतलब तो फिर भैया
रोजी,
जी
ये मधुलिका दीदी जो आप बोल रहे हैं ना, उसको थोड़ा
जी
अंग्रेजी में अनुवाद भी करके ताकि सब लोग समझ पाए। तो इतना जितना आपने बोला है उसको थोड़ा मधुलिका दीदी अनुवाद करके बता देंगी, फिर आप आगे की कहानी बताइएगा। So, what Rosie was telling us was that she basically in 2018 she heard about the. I mean, she basically talked about her background and saying that she had dropped out from school education, I think after class 10. And when she heard about the SE program, there was a volunteer from the local area called Renuka who kind of came to her and told her about the program. So she was very happy and wanted to avail of the opportunity to actually undergo a skill training and thereafter, giving her access to an employment opportunity. When she discussed it in her family, her mother was quite positive, but her brother and father were quite not so sure about her going to a far off place to another state to actually undergo that training program. She then took help of the local cadre and also the Pradhan team member Amit to actually convince her family, which, so the Pradhan professional along with the local cadre Renuka then reached out and had a conversation with the family, who then, kind of got a little convinced. So that's where I think we had reached. Rosie, आगे की कहानी अब आप बता सकते हैं।
जी मैम, आगे की कहानी है कि मतलब जैसे वहाँ पे अमित भैया आए और भैया को बोले, भैया को समझाए कि मतलब ठीक ऐसा कोई बात नहीं है, बाहर जाने से कोई रोक नहीं है, मगर फिर भी भैया ने तैयार नहीं हुए। तो फिर हमने बोला कि हमें जाना है, हमें इस जॉब के बारे में हमें जॉब करना है। तो फिर भैया ने बोले ठीक है, जब तुम्हें जाना ही है, तुम अभी सोचती हो कि हम मतलब बाहर जाएंगे। हम बोले ठीक है भैया, हमें जाना है, हमें कोर्स करना है। तो भैया बोले ठीक है, जब सोचती हो कि अपनी कदम आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, तो बोले ठीक है तब जा सकती हो। उसके बाद में 15 फरवरी को हम लोग को मतलब वहां से निकलने के प्लान बन गए थे हिमाचल कॉलेज। जो हिमाचल कॉलेज 15 फरवरी को निकलने में 18 फरवरी को आके हिमाचल पहुंचे और हिमाचल पहुंचे और उस हिमाचल में मतलब कॉलेज है जिनमें इतना बड़ा कॉलेज है, कभी भी नहीं सोचे थे कि इतना बड़ा कॉलेज में मैं आ सकती हूँ और पढ़ाई कर सकती हूँ। जिसमें मतलब उस कॉलेज में आए और हमें देख के बहुत खुशी मिले कि इतना बड़े कॉलेज में दोबारा पढ़ने के हमें मौके मिले हैं। और उस कॉलेज में फिर उसके बाद में हमें मतलब उसकी 2-3 दिन बाद हमें तो क्लास शुरू हो गए, जिसमें 15 दिन क्लास चले, जिसमें पढ़ाए जा रहे थे, कंप्यूटर सिखाए जा रहे थे, इंग्लिश सिखाए जा रहे थे और पेशेंट के बारे में बताए जा रहे थे कि पेशेंट को कैसे केयर करना चाहिए, उसके बारे में बताए जा रहे थे। और उसके बाद मतलब और 15 दिन क्लास चले और 15 दिन क्लास चलने के बाद में उनके बाद फिर लॉकडाउन लग गए। दिन में लॉकडाउन लग गए, उसके बाद क्लास बंद हो गए तो उसके बाद फिर हमें कॉलेज ही में कॉलेज में उसके बाद हमें क्या बोलते हैं पीपी किट और मास्क बनाने का काम मिले थे, जिसमें पैसा भी हमें मिले थे। ऐसा ही 5,000 रुपया हमें अपने कमाई किए थे पहले ही, जिसमें 2-3 हजार घर भी भेजे थे और अपना मतलब पढ़ाई भी अपना मतलब साथ में भी रखे थे पैसा। और उसके बाद फिर जून में 7 जून को फिर हम लोग वापस घर चल गए। 7 जून को घर चल गए और 7 जून को 3 मंथ वहां रहे, फिर घर पे रहे। उनके बाद फिर हमें मतलब दोबारा फिर कॉलेज खुल गए तो हमें फिर आना था फिर पढ़ाई करने के लिए, जॉब के बारे में हमें जॉब करना था। फिर हमने वहां गए, फिर मम्मी बोल रहे थे कि इस बार नहीं जाना है। हम बोले नहीं, हमें जाना है, हमें जॉब करना है। तो मम्मी बोल रहे थे क्या कि नहीं मतलब जॉब तुमको अब वहां नहीं जाना है। हम मतलब हमें मतलब शादी के बारे में हम मेरे सोच रहे थे कि शादी करवाना है। तो हमने बोले कि हमें अभी शादी नहीं करना है, हमें जॉब करना है। तो बोले नहीं जॉब नहीं करना, शादी कराना। फिर भी मम्मी को मैंने बोली मम्मी हमें शादी अभी नहीं करना है, हमें जॉब करना है। तो बोलता है ठीक है, जब जॉब करना है तो तू जा सकती है। उसके बाद फिर हमने वापस कॉलेज आए, जिसमें फिर 3 मंथ का कोर्स हो रहे थे, फिर 15 दिन और इधर मिला के 3 मंथ का कोर्स हम लोग को पूरा हो गए। जिस 3 मंथ का कोर्स पूरा हुआ, उस 3 मंथ का कोर्स में हमें फिर दिसंबर में 31 दिसंबर की मेरी क्लास खत्म हो गई। 31 दिसंबर को मेरी क्लास खत्म हो गई और 1 जनवरी को मैं करनाल माई हॉस्पिटल अमृतधारा में मेरी जॉब लग गई, जिसमें करनाल शहर में अभी मैं जॉब करती हूँ, जिसमें मतलब 10,000 रुपया हमें मिलते हैं और करनाल हॉस्पिटल में मैं जॉब करती हूँ। हमें तो बहुत खुशी मिले कि हम जॉब भी मतलब पढ़ाई भी किए और उसके बाद दूसरा बात मुझे जॉब भी मिल गया। और अभी 6 मंथ से मैं अभी करनाल हॉस्पिटल में अमृतधारा में जॉब कर रही हूँ, जिसमें हमें बहुत खुशी है कि अपने आप मतलब अपने पढ़ाई काम से ही खुशी भी है और मम्मी पापा वो भी खुशी है कि ठीक है। मेरी बेटी जब बोल रही थी कि हमें जॉब करना है, मम्मी को बोल रहे थे उस समय कि मम्मी हमें जाने दीजिए, हमें जॉब करना है। अभी मम्मी बोल रही थी जब ठीक ही है, जब तुम अपने बारे में सोचिए तो और भी आगे बढ़ो। मेरा आशीर्वाद तो हमेशा ही साथ रहते हैं।
Madhulika, would you like to take a go this time?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So just to continue, so after Rosie convinced her parents, she left for the college in Himachal on 15th of March, and she reached there on 17th of March. And for the first time, she had seen a well-established infrastructure and a large college, and she was very happy because never in her dreams had she thought that she would be able to study in such a established institution. But she studied there for a week, and while she was there for a week, she was taught the basics of the general duty assistance, of how to care for patients, of how to make hospital beds, so on and so forth. But after a week, there was a full lockdown that was imposed by the government. So while they were there in the hostel of that institution, they were taught how to make masks and PPE kits. So they made masks, they made PPE kits, and they also earned something out of that. So she earned roughly INR 5,000. That's almost $68 US dollars. And she was very happy because this was the first time that she had earned something, and she kept something for herself. She sent some money back to her family. And when the lockdown was lifted, she was sent back home. And after she was sent back, and when the lockdown was completely over and the college asked them to come back, her parents and her father and her brother again hesitated to send her back. And they were again told her that she does not need to go back, she needs to get married, and so on and so forth. But Rosie stood her ground, and she said that come what may, I want to go back, I want to complete my course, and I want to start earning. And therefore she was sent back. And after 3 months of course, which ended in December, she was finally placed in a hospital nearby, where she is currently, it's a tier 2 city, Karnal, where she is currently placed, and she stays over there, and she earns INR 10,000 per month, which is roughly US dollar 140 per month. And once she started earning, and when she came back home, her father, her brother, her mother, everyone was very proud of her. And I mean, no one had ever imagined that she would be able to complete her studies and start earning and start staying on her own. So that was a big milestone in her life. And yeah, that's all.
Thanks, Madhulika. And actually, 10 minutes is such a, I mean, brief time to actually share all the things that, actually happened and how Rosie kind of, asserted herself vis-a-vis, family. So, but moving on, we go on now. I now invite Anupama. So, Anupama, you're a young professional directly recruited from the campus, Xavier Institute of Management, a very prestigious campus. So, you chose to work in a remote rural area in Dhenkanal, one of the remotest blocks in that district. Now, you're leading the district team on the SE program. And shortly after you joined, COVID struck. So, what has been your experience, your understanding of how women and communities have been impacted by the pandemic? What challenges it threw to the program? How did you and the team on the ground respond to these challenges? And what changes were also made for it to become more responsive? Over to you, Anupama.
Thank you, ma'am. But being my first job, I was very excited to work in the development sector, like how closely we can work with women, young women, disability, and also regarding children. I was very excited to work with all these people, like how will they this and second chance education program project has given me a platform to work and start about new things and learn many new things. But once the project has been started and just have taken over some time, the COVID has just started. The pandemic started, and this pandemic has given us new more challenges. It added more experience to me. The pandemic has been a very unexpected challenge in front of everyone. No one has ever expected that these types of challenges will come and emerge, and this whole world will look into an lockdown situation, which devastatingly and almost all the countries have seen health issues and economic impact on the countries. But now we stand in a very critical situation on where we have to fight against the pandemic, and also the work that we are doing for our rural community should also continue. The pandemic has given us a unique opportunity to rethink ourselves to inclusive and be a most sustainable approach. We have learned many lessons from the pandemic, like the biggest lesson is how capable and how adaptive are to our changes. How quickly we have to adapt to the changes. Like suddenly everything changed to online. Like we can say the way we work changed from office to work from home. Our education system changes to suddenly for the online classes. Then we all started interacting with people. Direct interaction with people stopped, and we all moved to suddenly move to online. And we can say that the whole world suddenly changed from an offline media to a digital substance. Everything like online classes, online meetings, video calls. We started also ordering food and beverages from the online. I think mainly everything suddenly turned out to be an online, which was actually major challenge for the rural India to adapt this major changes, because not many of our working field areas are not so people are not so digitally literate, and also the network areas are not so much strong that they suddenly can adapt to these changes. uh, yes, our project has also been affected due to this pandemic, but we took this challenging things as an advantage and started working in our areas. Our team was very confident, no, we can work it together. And we took small, small steps to take over the challenges and work more. like we have in this project we have worked with almost all from the ages of young women to the older age women also, from till the age of 45 to 50 years. In our education also, many older age women have also taken admission in the education. The major challenge I can the major shift in the education sector, like we can say that affect only because of pandemic, is we suddenly change our regular interaction in our women empowerment hub, suddenly changes to the WhatsApp interaction and also online classes. WhatsApp interaction, we made WhatsApp groups so that their education, their learning will not be affected. Our educators share their notes and assessments over in the WhatsApp group. Almost all from women, 70 to 80 women were able to attend online classes in our Google and Zoom Meet. But this was very limited group, as we had a very larger group of women, but we were not able to reach everyone because most of the women do not have smartphones, and also the network availability is also was a major issue. But due to this, but we were in contact with a smaller group of people, and also some with all the other women, those who are not able to use smartphones or not able to connect, we have attend online classes. We were getting connected over a con call, and we were sharing our notes and sessions over with them on the con calls. And as and post lockdown and post situation, when some relaxations were open, then as women empowerment hub, many women were not able to access the women empowerment hub due to not availability of transportation. Then we decided to take classes in village level small clusters, and we use the local government spaces like different schools or panchayat house, and with the help of local sarpanch and all, we started interacting with them in the village level and cluster wise. And also, due to this pandemic, a new intervention we started in all our villages is the digital literacy course. Like we thought many women or also the young age people whose schools were doing online classes, most of them were not able to do classes, not able to attend classes, were not able to understand what is how can we attend the class, or what are the problems that they will face. So we think that digital literacy course was a need of the hour during that time. So we started a course where the young women or also the interested men of the community can come and attend the 15 days course, which majorly covered the basic computer knowledge like MS Word, MS Excel, PowerPoint, mainly how to use internet, how to browse, how can we get the latest update of the news. And also we also interacted, the course also covered about the uh, online frauds or the different types of challenges that they might be facing using online. And also it also the course also included about the UPI and the use of online software, other software medias. Then we can say that at around maybe 50 to 55 young women were undergone this training and also received the different certificates. They are completed this course. Many of them are very happy. Like, I am digitally literate. I can use computer. I know how to use a computer. I know how to use a smartphone. I don't have to depend on my children or my husband to know about it. I can go and Google and browse, and I can know about the things. That was a positive move that we got from the community level after women had undergone this course. And skilling and employment has also been a challenge for us, because due to the lockdown situation, the many of girls, those who are undergoing training, couldn't complete the training, And due to the lockdown situation, they had to return to their home as they couldn't complete their training. And also for the closure of institutes, for a longer time, many girls were stuck like, what we will do? We want to go and work outside, we want to complete our training. But slowly, we again had to change to the online training sessions. Like with the help of the ABLE team, we were able to conduct online classes on soft skill training, and around 70 young women have completed their online training and all are waiting for a good opportunity there where they can get placed. After post-COVID situation and before the lockdown of second stages, many young girls, 22 young girls were undergoing training on defense home nursing and tailoring trade, and uh, 5 young girls from our district has gone outside of the state. They were very excited to go outside. They were very family was not want, they don't want to send their girls like, no, uh, here the COVID situation is high, it is again returning, we don't want to send our girls outside Odisha. But they went for out they went outside Odisha for in Tiruchi. They were all they are getting training and they are on their job right now. But women are very happy, like working in the apart from all the COVID challenges and all the lockdown situation. Women and the girls, those who are undergone training, are very happy and they are continuing their job. And also, and if we take in the enterprise, like local opportunities and local local opportunities and local marketing was a major challenge for women, and women started to earn small money for them, so that the small household incomes they can it will become an income generating activity for them, and they can do small enterprise setups. Like vinyl business was started by many women in their community. And like this post COVID situation has become was a challenge, but we take all the positives from the challenge, we make it sustainable and had a good approach in our project, and we are quite successful in this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupama. That was so heartening to hear. And, a young professional like you, I mean, we also wanted to, I mean, but the journey, your own journey as a professional, I think was also evident in the way you narrated the entire experience. So moving on now to Mr. Kanhaiya Lal Gupta, who joins us from the National Institute of Open Schooling. As we know, just to set the backdrop, Miss NIOS is an opportunity, a state initiative for anyone who may have dropped out of school at any point and now wants to complete their school education. So NIOS is like a lifeline for boys and girls as well as adult learners to complete their class 10 or class 12 and also vocational training. So post the COVID, striking us, I mean, the program entered into an institutional partnership with the NIOS. And also we kind of, one facet of the program, which was the economic crisis. So that, I must say that the program overall and took cognizance of the economic distress and kind of was very prompt in providing for the cost of the entire scholarship program within the program. So Mr. Gupta heads the state unit of the National Open School. He's been closely involved with the program earlier in Rajasthan and now has taken charge in Bihar. So, Mr. Gupta, question for you is, how do you think has NIOS's functioning been affected as a result of COVID? And, what have been your observations of how the SCE program has been able to respond to the COVID challenges? And, also any thoughts on what could have been done better also? Over to you, Gupta ji.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm KL Gupta, and good evening to everybody, those who are there. First of all, we feel proud to what Roji Begum has done. Besides all challenges she faced in her life, and she convinced her parents to come out as a role model for such women, females, and put one example in front of everybody, those who wants to continue their studies as well as their work. And secondly, hats off to Anupama. She is a management scholar, and instead of going for a lucrative job and working in an office atmosphere, she choose to come to this challenging situation where she is thinking of, not only thinking of, rather she is doing what best can be done for facilitating these second chance education aspirants. Thanks to both of them. And now I comes to, NIOS is the largest open schooling system in the world. And we do cater almost 5 to 6 lakh students per year for their secondary and senior secondary education classes, studies. When it comes to other things, so many things are there which we are taking care of. By and large, we are catering not only a particular class, rather we are having a used umbrella where we are serving catering for the need of education to all strata. What we are talking about, we are concerned about is second chance education, especially for women. When it comes to military education, under a project Napier, we are providing opportunities for dependents of army personnel, those who are working and their education is either 10th or 8th or 6th. So we are also providing them opportunities in every strata of life. NIOS is pursuing all kind of things which can improve upon the academic standard of all the society components. Now, in open and distance education system, the problem is that we have already, I don't know, NIOS has already thought of this COVID-like situation will be there, because formal education system and non-formal education system, when we talk of non-formal means distance education mode, what we are doing, we are fully techno-savvy people, we are already dependent of technology. So we were hardly affected by this COVID situation, because already the way we are delivering our things, that is through our digital platform. Only a small component where we need our study centers through which we are providing support, academic support to learners. That is whether how to use this material, how to go ahead with the problems. They can come to their study center for solving of their doubt clearing session or problem solving session. Already NIOS is doing, what is NRS is doing, we are providing study material to all learners at their address. Now self-learning material reaches to all learners well in time so that they can study at their own. Secondly, we have provided a platform where we have developed video lectures for all the curriculum, all subjects, all chapters, and we have put it on our website as well as on YouTube channel. So anybody who wants to go for their lessons or these things, he or she can easily access that. Besides that, we have put all our curriculum and books and study material on our website. So if anybody has not got the books, he or she can immediately access it from our website. Besides that, we have our presence on PM eVidya channel, that is PM eVidya 10 and PM eVidya 12. Now on PM eVidya 12 means class 10th related lessons. We are having 3 hours in the morning 10 to 1, where 4 lessons are being, these are live interactive classes. One can join the classes and whatever interaction he or she wants to have with the tutor, she can talk or get her problem queries solved. Similarly, in PM E-Vidya 12, we are having in the afternoon from 2 to 5, 4 classes are there. These classes are also for class 12, but they are also online classes, and live interactive classes are there. These things we have already started in our delivery system. Now what we are doing, we are planning to have these our implementation partner for SCE. Say these in Rajasthan, I think Manjari Foundation is looking after that, and in Bihar it is Pradhan is looking after that. What we are planning, we are requesting them, as this Anupama is telling, that instead of going for online classes for everybody in a group, say in Bihar, we are having admissions in 2 districts. This SC program is going in 2 districts, Kishanganj and Gaya. So in Gaya, the registration is almost 247, whereas in Kishanganj, it is 411 female learners are registered with NIOS. So what we request to our implementation partners are that instead of having a at once for class for all the learners, if we can have it in small groups, or if we can, if the situation improves, then regarding COVID, then we can call these into small groups to deliver them the things in a better way. And I think these girls and these females, they will be doing better and excelling in their life. And whenever any problem is there, say sometime, you know, study center we choose for submission of our TMA and submission of our practical examination. If any problem is there, then NIOS regional center immediately taking into consideration these things and immediately shifting to some other examination center where their practical exam means at any cost. Child should not be a sufferer. This is our what I was looking into, that when assignments is there, if assignment is not being taken up by study center, we request study centers to take interest into that. If we, beyond our all efforts, if it is not possible for them, then we request our implementation partners that you send all those assignments to regional center, so that student or learner should not be at loss at any cost. And we are looking forward. We are also trying our level to create a small group of all the learners, so that things can be delivered on WhatsApp group or other social media platforms, so that video lectures on day-to-day basis we'll try to deliver it. We'll try to send it to learners in a group, so that they can get it in a better way. This is all about we are thinking. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gupta ji. So nice to, hear of all the things that you are planning already in place to actually, for the system to reach out to the last, person in the village. So thank you. And moving on now to, lastly, we move on to Mr. Ved Prakash Sharma from Be Able. Vijay, you are a veteran in the field of skilling and entrepreneurship promotion for the last more than 30 years. I would urge you to give us a view of the skilling spaces and how they were affected. What's the, give us a bit of the overall macro picture also. And then, moving on to the SCE program, give us a view of the future. We know that it was affected significantly. Along with Be Able, we kind of tried to respond to those challenges. Tell us a little bit about those, but also about the future. What does the future hold in these spaces? What are the emerging employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for women in the post-COVID world? Over to you, Veji.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I would like to thank UN Women team and program and Pradhan team and our ground partners, Chaitanya, Aina, Pradhan, the team in Bihar and Odisha, and the Manjari team. So this program is very innovative. In my career, I have not seen such a program which is catering last mile. So first of all, thank you for bringing such programs to Indian states and such districts. Uh, when we talk about the skilling, so skilling, we were having target for 11 million people to be completed as a skilled till June, this June. But we could not achieve that target. 10 million youths are trained, skilled now, and still we have 21% skilled workforce. Out of our 140 million workforce, we have 21% skilled people. So as per an NSDC, this we can say that now they have 100 million youths who are waiting for the skilling, and there are 100 in this 40% women are there, and this this is the area where we can skill them and link to livelihoods. During this pandemic, if I say the skilling sector was impacted heavily, unemployed rate jumped from 8% to 32%, millions jobs losses, industry was on hold, and when we talk about the employers, so recruitment was put on hold. There was huge number of layoff, and 1.5 year continued layoff are there, and many small and medium enterprises are shut down their businesses. We have seen this, some of the organizations who are running with 30 to 50% capacity, they are also retaining some of the staff, but not fully. And also there were pay cuts and salary cuts, so not full wages was paid. And state governments stopped their skilling programs during this COVID, and they are dependent on center sponsored programs. Corporate and PSU CSR funds were also moved to healthcare, and this was not available for skilling and employment to the rural people, youth. But in skilling sector, we are seeing that there is a future. Keeping in view of industrialization under Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are expecting to increase in demand about 30 to 35% of a skilled workforce in coming years, which is currently about 5% of our workforce in major entities. In COVID-19, there was a pause situation for skilling industry players. All centers were just shut down or scrapped due to rental premises. Girls' hostel, boys' hostels were closed, and batch were running, could not be assessed. There are around a lot of NSDC partners. We can say this now 57 ASTP partners are continuing, but out of that 3,000 odd number of skilling organization in India, about 2,000 are stopped now. So because there is no program and no operations happening in buildings and centers are not continuing their operations. So we were not thinking it next couple of months even. There is no clarity about the starting or restarting the centers of skilling. But Government of India is having mandate of skilling youth. So this is there. Less than 5% organizations in the skilling industry could only start online classes as the opportunity to train candidates in the pandemic. But most of the organizations could not start this. As far as concerned, if I say the second chance education program, we should recognize this, that UN Women team and Pradhan team identified such geographies, and we scanned those geographies, and we were lucky that we scanned those geographies. These are the villages, regions of the tribal, backward classes. Most of the backward regions are there. Their average per capita income is less than $500. Dealing with last mile geographies uh, is a challenge for many of the initiatives, but we are there. Rural village communities have their own culture and traditions. Most affected and our weakest link in terms of any development initiatives. So these villages are last in the row. Second chance education program. In this program, our goal was to provide meaningful employment to support 3,600 young women through skilling and placement in the industry. As per the goal, we worked towards achieving these goals in 12 districts and 4 states. Young women and families feeling inadequate at economic and many more fronts. Fear factor was also there during this pandemic, and we find that there were very less opportunities due to less opportunities for skilling and employment, and as compared to pre-COVID-19, training partners who started their centers closed them, and also those who were operating without hostels, so which was not possible for girls to join those courses at a distances. So we see this employers, those who were plans to recruit in this period, they hold their recruitments, and also not paying fully. Actually, they were paying part of salaries, or deductions were there, so this was not feasible to us. Many families were not ready to send young women outside of their villages. So resistance, like Rajia explained, that this was a true story, we can say. There was high percentage of dropout, those in those candidates who were placed due to various reasons. This was maybe distances or other regions of fear factors. So dropout percentage after selecting and getting offer letters and going to the workplace, they are dropping out.
Just a heads up that we'll have to wind up in 2 minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm completing this. So in this program, we scanned the geographies. We started this way. We initiative was taken to do market scanning, identified the uh, localities, uh, trained our team, cadres, and connected with their families, and through the street corner meetings and door-to-door visits. So these initiatives we taken to the connect and mobilize the candidates. Counseling and screening sessions were taken up, and generating livelihoods was the theme. So we were successful in enrolling candidates throughout the lockdown period even. So I sorry. So we selected candidates enrolled in the program. So 3,600 women were selected, young women, and skilled close to 3,000 skilled. In this, we have 1,700 young women were trained in online classes, and primarily challenge was there was no uh, smartphones or laptops. So challenges were there, but we address it through the our local teams and support locals, and Zoom classes, taking them on Zoom classes or another challenge. So that was also addressed. 1,700 we trained through online classes. So approximately uh, 200 girls were placed, and these more numbers were ready, but due to this lockdown, parents were not allowed, and the industry is also not opening to the joining. But we have close to 200 training partners and industry partners for the placing the candidate. For placement, we find that women are reluctant to join the workplace because distances and there's nobody to take care or connect them. So we open a transit hub for the women at Jaipur. So these candidates joined and successfully retained there and earning their livelihood. So this transit hub was an idea, and we implemented this successfully. And other locations also we coordinate with the team and the employers for food and accommodation arrangements. This was successfully done. And we can say that this is not only the livelihood, but delaying in the marriages is also an achievement in this program. And we find that if this is successful, we can see that many success stories will come beyond the Razia. We have the candidates like Sarmila, 8th pass from Raigada district, working in Sahana cloths around 1,000 kilometers away from her town, her village, and Tamil Nadu. Priyanka Bharti, so she is also 10th pass, and Mayur from Mayur, working in SMO trade, and she's saying my life has got big change. I started earning. So like Basanti, who is only 5th pass, so she is earning around $150 per month, and she is from tribal village, very tribal village, and she is enjoying her work and saying that I'm trying to learn more and more on this and wants to uh, go on next level. So such stories are there. Some candidates from our Bihar, Rajia has also told. Monica is there. Another online job, online training candidate, Kartika Kumari, who is earning $200 and trained in online and retail sales and got local job. So one of the Honda solutions is the dealership, local at local dealership. One is the candidate. Monica is also working there, and she was also online training candidate. From Rajasthan, we have identified innovative areas where solar assembling units are there, solar panel assembling units are there. So girls from Jaisalmer desert areas, they are working, they are placed there and successfully working there, and with all facilities. So we have Lakshmi and Hemu and Sulochna, Krishna, like that. These girls,
if we
yes,
can,
yeah. So way forward, if I see this industry is opening and we have the opportunities, large number of opportunities are there. We have employer tie-ups, and across the industries, we have identified 3 job roles majorly. One is the retail, one is the healthcare, and one is the apparel textile. So these are the 3 job roles we have identified. But in general, also BPO is opening through this due to online classes or online connecting or backend work, lot of backend work. So BPO industry is coming up and paying goods, and uh, other industries are also there. So we have the tie-up, and we have connected, and more than 200 meetings we have conducted in this. So future letter of intents are there, our tie-ups are there. So we have that uh, find that industry is opening, and these candidates are also trained, and they are now trained in communication and improving their life skills, soft skills. So they are confident to take up the jobs and outside of their geographies also. So migration is a challenge, but it has to be in some of the areas, because, and we are also finding local jobs, and as in the unorganized sectors, as a gig workers are there. So there are startups also, they are looking some small number of staff. So we have worked on these areas, and we have a division of placement division dedicatedly working on this. So we hope that in next 6 months, I think our big numbers of connecting with meaningful employment will be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Viji. And thank you, all the panel members, for taking out time and sharing your perspective. I see that we've overshot by 5 minutes. I now hand over back to Sonali or Penny. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Madhu. That was completely fascinating to hear about the India experience.